And it is time for Brother Mustafa Talibi. So inshallah I'll invite him and join the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
These are they who have purchased error for guidance, so their commerce was profitless, and they were not guided. Their likeness is as the likeness of the one who kindled a fire. When it lit all around him, God took away the light and left him in darkness, so they could not see. Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. I would like to start in the name of God, the Beneficent and Merciful, the one who has given us gifts and bounties beyond the imagination. And among the many gifts that he's given us is the gift of choice. Choice is so simple, it's so profound. For we could have been like the angels, born subservient and unidirectional, but God chose to exalt us by allowing us the right to choose wrong, but the chance to choose right. This basic struggle epitomizes our daily lives and our existence. And as the verse I started off with suggests, choice is temporal, momentary to the senses. And once it passes, joy or sorrow ensues. Here, God is trying to make a point to the people. Your choices are like the fire, with great potential for good and evil. But the choice is yours, which way to go. And rest assured, the fire will not last forever. And once the fire extinguishes, sorrow of a missed opportunity will take over. That's the simple truth. We all go through it, some realize it more than others, but it's the inevitable fate of every human being to come across choices, with potential for good and evil. Even the angels knew this about us before we were even created. When God told them about our creation, and remember when your Lord said to the angels, I'm going to place on the earth a vicegerent, referring to us humans. They said, will you place in it those who will make mischief therein and shed blood, while we glorify you and praise your sanctity? God replied, I know that which you do not know. So they knew of our ability to do evil and harm and cause suffering, and all you need to do is look around the world to see all the suffering that's present in today's society, and even close to home within Canada. So it begs the question, what is it that God knew about us that the angels didn't know? And why were we given this potential for so much destruction? The answer God explains later on is in our ability to be moral beings. And the Oxford Dictionary describes morality as principles concerning the distinction between right and wrong, or good and bad behavior. Right and wrong. Without bad, we have no morality. It is this ability that distinguishes us from all the other creations. Yet it is also this ability that can bring about our greatest problems. God explains in the chapter of the Dawn, when trying to explain the way man reacts. And by the way, for English translation, in this verse, the word that is used is فَأَمَّا الْإِنسَانُ, but insan is translated as man. So for the sake of translation, there's going to be a masculine reference to all these translations, but it does, it's by gender. So as for man, when his Lord tries him by giving him honor and bounties, he says, "My Lord has honored me." But when he tries him by reducing his means of life, he says, "My Lord has humiliated me." And interestingly enough, when God uses the word reducing here, he says, فَأَمَّا إِذَا مَبْتَلَاهُ رَبُّهُ فَقَدَرَ عَلَيْهِ رِزْقَهُ فَيَقُولُ رَبِّي أَهَانَنِ. My Lord has humiliated me. But the word qadara here, which is translated as reducing, actually means, according to the lay lexicon, to make a thing up by measure, or according to a measure, or proportioning it. So basically, what God is doing is just proportioning our means towards us. And we see that as a big humiliation, because we always want more. God continues, "No. Not only that, but you treat not the orphans with kindness and generosity, and urge not one another on feeding the poor. And you devour the inheritance with greed, and love wealth with much love. Nay, when the earth is ground to powder, and your Lord comes with the angels in rows, and hell will be brought near on that day." So no longer is it a figment of our imagination. Hell is right there. We know it exists at that point. On that day will man remember. But how will that remembrance then avail him? He will say, "I wish I had sent forth good deeds for this life." So on that day, he will not punish his punishment to anyone else, and he will not trust his trust on anyone else. But God reassures us, "O calm and restful spirit, Ya ayyatuha nafsul mutma'inna." Mutma'inna here is defined as a thing to which one trusts, or upon which one relies, so as to become rest and easy. So God basically is trying to tell us that if you want to gain this mutma'inna state, you need to rely on God. You need to put your trust in Him. Come back to your Lord, well-pleased and well-pleasing. Enter then in my service and enter my paradise. Another interesting word here, فَادْخُلِي فِي عِبَادِي, which means, the word ibadi here, according to the lay lexicon, is to serve, to worship, to do what God approves of, to withhold. So wait a minute, you might be thinking, to serve, to worship, and then to withhold, isn't that a little, contradicting? Well, in reality, you look at the word encompasses everything. To become subservient, to repent, to blame yourself for having remiss, or for having fallen short, or doing what you ought to have done, to mourn or grieve, to keep to yourself, to submit to or trod a path or road, not to delay, to hasten. So all these adjectives and all these words, what are they describing? They're basically describing our life. It's essentially everything. So when God is saying, God is trying to say, enter my service. What is God's service? It's everything. You need to do everything. You need to do basically what Islam told you. And so in that, you need to have choices to make. And it's our choices then that define who we are. We must be mindful of our choices. At any moment, they're there. They happen all too quickly, and in an instant, they're gone. You're walking on the snow, you see an iPhone on the floor. Boom, there's a decision. Your parents tell you something you don't quite like. Boom, another decision. Your friends are doing things. I'm being told I won the lottery. MashaAllah. Your friends are helping other people out, and all of a sudden, boom, another decision. Are you lazy? Do you want to go help? They're on something else? There's a lot you can do. I know we hear this all the time, but it is a single choice that elevated the companions of Imam Hussein to what they are today, to being honored to this day. And among them, the one that I will be speaking about is Wahab bin Habab al-Kalbi. This was a young man, by most accounts, 17, 18 years old. He had recently been married, but he taught us all, and the generations before him and after him, how to make a choice. And to everyone that tries to explain this issue as a Muslim conflict or as a Shia commemoration, we'll have this proof that what happened in Ashura speaks more to Muslims and more than just to Shias, but to all humans alike. He was from a Christian tribe, and he was raised a Christian. Yet when he was confronted with the unmistakable truth, he made the choice to side against corruption and tyranny. He asked his mother, "Mother, what should I do in this situation?" His mother asked, "How do you feel yourself, my son?" Wahab said, "In my opinion, Hussein is on the just path, and it would be cowardly and against all my traditions to leave the side of a man so isolated and surrounded by bloodthirsty enemies." The mother said, "But that means definite death." Wahab replied, "Yes, I know, but my heart tells me that this is the right thing to do in these circumstances." His mother then said, "If that is how you feel, then we will stay with Hussein." And therein lies the morality, the ability to choose what's right and wrong, and to choose what's right. That was his choice, that was his destiny. He was always known among his tribe as a brave young man, an intelligent young man, and someone who had great leadership potential, but gave it all for what he thought was just. And even when Imam Hussein subsequently told him not to risk his life in this matter, "Don't worry, this is a Muslim issue," he realized this was just a test, and another choice needed to be made, because this wasn't a Muslim issue. This was about right and wrong. And so in that he insisted, converted, and died for what he believed in. Brothers and sisters, let us learn from Wahab's example. We are all kindling a fire within us, but it's up to us to do good or evil with it. The choice is yours.